Hey, what's up? It is Stryker. Welcome to Tuna on Toast. Hit that subscribe button as we are building this community. And I want to give a shout out to Velvet Hammer Music and Management Group. They said, Stryker, we love your podcast. Keep doing the episodes. We have your back. Thank you, Velvet Hammer. Now let's get to another episode.
This is Tuna on Toast.
Tyson Ritter is about to be at the house for an episode. Last minute clean. Who left this? Who did this? Oh my God, not good. Not good. Put the bananas away. He's here. Who is it? It's a milkman. Tyson! Wow, hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm well, man. Yourself?
Good, thank you for coming over.
I come bearing gifts. I brought you a little piece of art that I do some prints.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Oh, say it's you. Yes, it's you.
Who is it though?
It's this French actor that I did a still of. But it's so funny. I picked it because I was like, he's kind of got your face shape. So
A little bit.
it's striking resemblance.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Tyson.
Yeah, sweet pad.
Thank you very much.
You might want to put some water on those.
The tip of the day is to put water
in your finding plants. It's not a succulent.
Here we go. Watch your head here because you're very tall.
Oh, yeah.
Watch your feet.
Wow.
And that's for you right there.
Fancy. This
Yes.
is the room.
This is the room.
Tuna on Toast room.
Yes.
All right, man.
Tyson is here, I'm here, you're there. Let's start this thing. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuna on Toast. It is Ted Stryker. So excited my guest is here. Of course, he's the front man of the band now more than ever, and the All-American Rejects, and he's a great actor, Tyson Ritter.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, we've been hanging out already. It's still good.
Yeah.
How are you feeling out of your bubble in life and over here at my house right now?
It feels great to be at someone's house. I will say that. It's crazy. I'm such a hermit now that, going over to someone's house and having a giant, futuristic capsule put in front of my face and another handsome man over there behind the camera with 3 howls staring at me. Yeah, this is like, oh, right. I used to do this. I don't do this that often anymore. Like the whole, song and dance, even though it's really nice and disarming over at your home.
Thank you.
Doesn't feel so song and dancey. Although, da-da-da-da-da-da. No, I'm not going to do it.
I don't know if the cameras can see the water you brought. And I'm not putting it down at all because I have water. No, I'm not.
I put it down. You're asking me to pick it up.
Just to show real quick.
I'm one of those people.
Now,
I got the big jug. And you're just jealous with your little baby water over there. With your, look at me with my 6 ounces of water. As I could literally flood your home if I just accidentally, just a twist of the hand.
but what I'm worried about is not that you brought over that water. It's that in 8 minutes from now, when we're really going at it conversationally,
I'm going to be just having to pick it up. And
you have to go wee, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. I pee in that as well. It's great. It's not only the vessel, but it also receives.
Okay. So within the last 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, I saw on your Instagram, you posted a trailer for a movie called Prisoner's Daughter, which you are in with Brian Cox.
With Logan Roy.
Logan Roy from Succession.
Dude, that's some hard, that was crazy shit to me whenever I got that role. Yeah, crazy. And Kate Beckinsale, yep.
Can I just pepper you with some questions about that?
Oh yeah, pepper away.
When did you film the film? Shoot it.
We shot that in Vegas. Man, it was October of last year.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Like ever since my son was born, my like timeline just goes beep. But yeah, October last year.
And is this a movie that you auditioned for? You had to go in and read or put yourself on film first?
Yeah. Catherine Hardwick directed the film, and I'd been in another film with her and Tony Collette that she directed with Tony Collette. And she called me up and was like, "We can't find this guy, this character, to fill the role. Would you want to? I know it's kind of a something that I don't know you'd be willing to approach. He's a really dark spirit, but would you be willing to read for it?" And I had just had my son, and I was like flying high on that that adrenaline of like, receiving this great gift. And I was like, absolutely, let's go. And I walked into this room and I did it, and I walked out and I knew I was going to get it. It was really one of those cool moments that happened. Damn, the water. I've had too much water. No, yeah. So yeah, that was a really cool get for me.
When you go in for an audition, and I've been in a few movies having one or two lines, but nothing that where I was like so stressed and I had to be a real character.
Wait, do I need to look up your IMDb right now?
Grandma's Boy.
Oh, no shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know when they go to the vegan restaurant, I'm the person that's like, I've chosen the best table, enjoy the harmony, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, that's a great role. That's a great role for you. You have a very disarming, like, mellow disposition. You feel like you could own a vegan restaurant.
Yes, enjoy the harmony. Mwah. But back to you.
That's awesome.
Thanks, man. When you audition to be in a movie, especially like you did for this, what is the kind of preparation that you're putting in for that? Not for once you get it, but to prepare and show yourself off on what you can do.
I mean, for the audition, it's just like you go with your gut. You try to find a strong choice that the material hits you with, and that's the best you can do because you have usually like 48 hours at most.
Wow.
To go in there and do 10 pages of dialogue for a role that, you often don't have the entire script for. So the imagination is everything for that. So yeah, I enjoy the audition process. It's really, I think it's your one opportunity to present before you have any outside influence of someone else's vision for a character.
How different is it singing on stage to 40,000 to auditioning? I'm not talking about being on set, but like nerves, excitement, anxiety. Is there any of that?
I think playing for 40,000 people is easier than playing for 1,000. When you're in a stadium or in a giant festival, you feel like you are one of the rides at the circus, not necessarily the entire ride. So yeah, for auditioning, it feels like, reminds me of like these club shows I've been playing with now more than ever. When you play for 300 to 400 people, it's really intimate, and it's as if you're in a room full of 5 people auditioning. It's very similar to that, but they see you, 5 people in a room watching you audition. Right. They really peer into your truth. And to me, that's it, man. That's all it is. You're just basically trying to convey truth, because everything, just as I'm sitting here, I'm sure I'm a little bullshit maybe, because I don't, as this continues, maybe I'll finally get comfortable enough. But right now I'm like, we're doing an interview. It's Ted Stryker. We're like online friends.
Yes.
And now I'm
We've
like,
chatted in
this is
person
the first
over the
time we
years.
get to sit down. I think the last time I saw you was on the Audience Network special that we
on
did.
the TV show.
And that again is like huge production around
Right.
you. It's a show.
Yeah.
This isn't really a show. This is like, oh shit, like I see your memorabilia wall that looks well curated. I'm like
Thanks,
seeing
man.
this guy. So yeah, this reminds me of an audition. In the sense that we're having an intimate exchange that is either going to be conveyed to the viewer as like bullshit or just a show. Or sorry, which is the same thing. Bullshit or truth,
My attempt for every person that's here, I ask things that I am genuinely curious about. Because I love performers, because I know from my vantage point and what I do, which is a million times smaller I know than you, it's really hard to get there to the place you want to go. It's really hard, and staying there is hard.
Yeah, and when you get there, though, that's why you do it, right? That
Right.
15 seconds of, holy shit, this guy just gave me a nugget that I know I had to unearth with my line of questioning, and he gave it to me, and it's mine, and it's special, and it's only mine. Or, fuck, this guy's coming in here, and he's just selling shit. Like, he's putting up his record on the fucking thing, and he's just being a peddler, and he's not going to open up to me. So I imagine that's like, your victories are like the same way with auditioning. The moment you feel like, oh shit, you leave it in the room, you're like, I was being true. I was being truth in that moment. That's where you're like, oh, this is what I'm chasing. This is the heroine of life.
Were you able to find your truth on set with Brian Cox, the actor? who's been in the business forever, who is so well respected, do you feel intimidation at all? When the camera's going, you can't be. You need to be relaxed fully, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, well, what's great is you need to be what the character is. And in this moment, you know, in the moments I share with Brian Cox, I had to be really unhinged and really on top of him even. Like we did, I remember a couple scenes we did, and I was like, I have to be, I'm driving this scene. You know, he was the passive one.
God.
And when you're going up against Logan Roy and even you know, like all the seminal scenes, Agamemnon from Troy. This guy was seminal to my upbringing. So to stare him back in the face, not as myself, but as someone who truly hates him. I remember I started painting in Vegas pretty much. That was when I was starting to paint. And I painted this painting of him. I hated him. Immediately, I made the decision. I was like, I fucking hate Brian Cox. Not Brian Cox, but I hate his character in the film, so I have to hate him right now. Which really wasn't pleasant, but I had no choice because my character was arriving, man. And when you're in that process, you just open yourself to whatever it gives you. And I did this painting of this anger. I just was visceral, and and I gave it to the makeup artist at the end because she was holding space for me. But I remember looking at this, I was like, holy shit, man. It looked like Hellraiser. And I was like, I really need to like make sure I contain this anger. And he was so, he's a stage actor, so he was really true with himself. He could literally turn it on and off. Like he's a gangster. So
you mean like 5 minutes before he can have
5 seconds.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't even have to take a breath. Like I saw him, there's a scene in the film. I'm sorry, I'm going long-winded.
No, please. I love this.
But there's a scene in the film.
I love this.
Yeah. There's a scene in the film where he walks in drunk as shit. And 2 seconds before, he's like, oh, blah, 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 you fucking cunts. Like, he's kind of got this beatnik poet vibe about him. And it's just so easygoing, like a disarmed, you know, like the fun uncle from New York that used to hip it around with Kerouac and shit, you know, in the Lower East Side. And he was like, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, one step in, action, boom. And he's this drunk dad who's angry. And I was like, oh, fuck, it's just that easy for you. Whereas I'm like putting myself through, you know, I'm trying not to be too torturous with myself with this role, but I knew I wanted, you know, I'm young in my craft, so I really had to commit to not being like, holy shit, it's Brian Cox.
Right.
So I have to stay in it a lot more. But anyway, that was like the ease of this guy, man. He was a treat to work across from.
Prisoner's Daughter will be in select theaters June 30th.
Yeah,
June
man.
30th is the date on that.
Yeah.
What is your character's name in the movie? And what was your, I guess, inspiration to play this character?
My character's name is Tyler. And so I was inspired to play this role. I mean, this is kind of crappy to say, but my dad, you know, he drinks some beers. So it's like sort of my dad when he's at his drunk, wildest self. And it's funny, I actually had this experience where I was shooting this other film at the same time as Prisoner's Daughter with Megan Fox. It's called Johnny and Clyde. It's not.
They rob a casino, right?
Yeah, uh-oh. I don't know. I loved everybody in the production. Boy, it's just an okay, really, it's kind of a bad movie.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
So I'm juggling both these movies, and I fly out to Providence, Rhode Island, and we're on set, and I go over to Megan's trailer because in the film there's this scene that she basically teases me putting my fingers in her mouth.
Okay.
Like she's like a villain, I'm like her henchman. And so I walked over to her and wanted to discuss this moment where a monster rips out her fucking heart. That's her death scene. So I go over there.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so I go over there, and there's her man in there with her name, this Coulson guy. who you know as Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes.
I call him Pistol Pete.
Okay.
So I go over there and I was like, hey, Megan, I wanted to talk to you about this moment where, when you die, because you've been teasing putting my fingers in your mouth, that when you're dead, I put my fingers in your mouth. And it's like this sort of resolution to my character, like getting his revenge. And what happened after that was the greatest sort of gift from my role in the other film in Prisoner's Daughter. Coulson just goes from zero to awesome, rage and awesome, super angry. He was super bummed about me asking if I could put my fingers in Megan Fox's mouth, and I knew she was right there. And he just went ballistic.
No.
It kind of went maniac mode. And I was like, it's funny, man. I just kind of held the space for it. And I was like, this is what I've been looking for with my character on Prisoner's Daughter. So, because the next day I had to shoot this scene in Vegas where this character goes in and confronts Kate Beckinsale, who's his ex-wife. And he goes from zero to ape shit, and I was really struggling how to throw that switch, and I needed to figure it out. And when Christian Bale talks about his role for American Psycho, he said he used Tom Cruise's interview with Matt Lauer because he was like, there's this really detached.
I know that he leans in and he's like,
this detached sort of assertion to him there, and I was like, I remember when Pistol Pete just started going ape on me, I was like, this is really confrontational, but also thank you, dude. And he might have been having a bad day, but I'll never forget. A lot of my role in that one moment, especially, it's not only my dad being his drunkest, wildest self, but there's a little bit of Pistol Pete in my role for Prisoner's Daughter.
And this was an acting choice that you wanted to make.
Yeah, but I couldn't find it.
But you said it in front of him, and he still went bananas on you.
Yeah. I mean, look,
was it resolved? Anything resolved? And did you do it in the movie?
No resolution. It was just I was just I think the whole experience for me was what the actual fuck is happening?
That's
he had this
wild.
Baby's arm of a joint dangling out of his mouth, and he was fully unhinged, and I was just like, okay, man, I'm just gonna receive you, because obviously. Yeah, it wasn't going to be anything crazy. But yeah, that was, it's funny, even going back to thinking about it, I'm like, holy shit, that was the greatest, it was the greatest gift. And Megan was such a sweetheart to work with that it was kind of just a really singular moment. So yeah, that's that story. That's where I got the role. And that's what I love about it is you can get the gifts for your characters from the most ridiculous occurrences.
Right.
It was such an insane experience for me. Yeah.
This is a good time to take a mini break, but still on camera.
Oh, cool.
I've got just a quick trivia game for you.
Go on,
it's
trivia.
Called the All-American Reject Game.
Okay, cool. Let's
All of
play
that
this
in
game.
quotes, like you would see this on Jeopardy. You ready?
Yeah.
This 1980s comedy TV series is about a school teacher who has superpowers.
Oh, a teacher who has superpowers?
Yeah, 1980s comedy on TV.
Oh, comedy on TV? Don't know, man.
You pass. This horror movie was written and directed by Robert Zombie. That's what I call him.
Oh,
it takes place in a motel and there's a lot of murders.
Oh, the clown, the Devil's Rejects. Yes.
This product is a laundry detergent.
This product with the word rejects in it? No, that's not the game.
What's the game called?
The All-American.
Pass.
God damn it! I don't get it
Stifler's
yet.
mom is super hot in this movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, American Pie. It's got one of the words in it.
Some
Gotcha.
men brag that they can do this deed for this amount of time. It's also a Lionel Richie song.
Oh, fucking on the ceiling.
I was looking for All Night Long. Going back to number one, The Greatest American Hero. Then we go Devil's Rejects. The product is called All.
The Greatest American Hero? What the fuck is that movie? Who was in it?
I know you weren't even born yet.
I'm 84. Yeah.
But I just thought All American Rejects.
I love it. No, this is
American Pie, All Night Long.
I like fucking on the ceiling, honestly. I hope that's a Lionel Richie song that he does eventually make.
Oh,
great game.
Jesus Christ. Thank you.
I like this game.
Thank you. We can keep doing that if you want.
It's funny. Do it again.
You mentioned your dad a second ago. Do you have a relationship with him now?
Yeah. I have a relationship with my dad.
Okay.
We're on fine terms. Yeah. I love the guy. Yeah. I'm from Oklahoma, so Oklahoma families go through a lot. Second, I think, highest divorce rate in America.
Wow.
Oklahoma, some really questionable politics in that arena. But yeah, I'm grateful for where I'm from, and especially starting the rejects in Oklahoma.
Right.
We had two ways to get out of there, and that was either throw a football or play music. And everybody, it's so funny. Like every California band, you always hear everybody says, you hear the story of Blink, and you're like, yeah, they were playing parties and they seemed cool. When you're in Oklahoma, nobody gives a shit if you have a band, especially not country band or, just something that felt approachable for that demographic down there. I don't know.
Swing. How was that going over in 2001 and 2?
That went over it's funny, from the first record on, that shit was fine. I'm talking about getting there, playing college bars at 13 and doing covers of, Buggles and the Ramones. That was actually cool, but my point is we were playing to college kids when we were 13 and 15. Wow. Anybody in our high school did not give a shit about our music. It was a little too, I don't know, I think everybody that saw a band playing in the high school I was from was like, sure. You know what I mean? Good try. You're trying. You're not doing it on the movies. On the movies,
you're no Garth Brooks.
I don't know. Maybe you're no Garth Brooks, but you're also they just saw American Pie. You're you're no Blink-182.
Yeah.
It was always the comparison was no, man, you're not the movie. We just go to the movies on Friday night. We don't go to somebody's house and watch a band play. That's way too real world shit.
I've been thinking about this lately and actually had a discussion with Alex from All Time Low. When you're 15 years old and you're in a band and you're good, you don't get the same respect as a good 15-year-old athlete. You don't get driven around from city to city like the athletes, the 15-year-olds that are in soccer leagues or baseball leagues or whatever it is.
Yeah, but you run fast. Good job. You get from point A to point B. We know you're good. We saw how fast you went from there to there. We know you put the ball in the bucket X amount of times. We see that what you calculate as being good at a sport has to be proven either on the points board or just in the statistic of your ability.
Yes.
Music is subjective like art, so it's just in the eye of the beholder or the ears of the beholders. So
I just feel like they don't get the same look, though, even if you're not a great band, but maybe you are. Because how many famous people have come from these music singing shows? There's 5 or 6, but all of them can sing really well.
Totally. I think that's what's changed, or that's what's always been weird about music is you have singers and you have songwriters, and then you have singer-songwriters or bands that write songs. So great singers, just because you can sing, man, doesn't mean you're an artist. It means you're a fucking singer. I know people that go to college for singing. I've met those people. There's something, and congrats to all those people who have mastered their technique and have sought to become a great singer solely. That's why you sing the songs that other people write. That's one side of it that demands a certain amount of respect on just one side. To me, and I don't know how about you, but artists I love, they weren't professional singers.
No.
I love the Talking Heads, and that guy, I'll never forget. Do you remember the rest of the story with Paul Harvey?
Yes.
It Paul Harvey?
And that's the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard this story that he did when I was a kid, and I remember, and they're and basically it was about a guy who went to a singing coach, and the singing coach was like, son, you should never sing. We've tried. You are not a singer. Don't do it. And he's like, and that went on to be David Byrne
Yeah.
from the Talking Heads. And I was like, that's fucking great. You know, same with like Frank Black, like of the Pixies. I love his voice. He is a preacher to me. To me, I don't give a shit about singers. I care about people that sound like art from the jump, man. Like, I don't know. There's something that shakes you within when you hear someone that you connect to, and that what they're saying sounds like their words, and that matters so much more to me than, you know, the great story on stage at fucking American Idol, man. I mean, hats off to those kids. That's not my bag, man. I look back now. There are still great artists emerging, but as far as catching them on ABC at 8 o'clock, that's I don't know if that's where you need to be looking.
Authenticity, and you tell me because maybe I'm off the deep end on this. Means more now.
Blow bubbles.
Means more now than anything because people
Means now more than ever.
Means now more than ever.
Just to use that colloquial.
People can see if you're full of S much faster than 10, 15 years ago. And if these lyrics aren't connecting and they seem fake and there's 41 people that wrote it, there's some artists, of course, they can get away with it because they're performing.
Yeah, I was about to say some artists get away with that shit,
but
man.
they have a star quality that others don't have. Maybe I'm digging myself in a hole here.
No. You can. This is a safe space. It's your space, man.
Well, it's your space too now.
No. I like this. You know.
I don't even know what I'm saying except people know when you're not being authentic more today than previous. And there's only a handful of artists that can get away with having 15 songwriters because they've built up the credibility over the last 15 years on how damn good they are at performing.
Yeah.
There you go.
I agree with like most of that. For me, I think when you have 15 writers on a song and you're in a band and you're on a fucking assembly line, you know, this sort of bodes to that question that I often get asked about, you know, when are you going to do another Rejects record? Will you ever make another Rejects record? And I see, first off, you know, I see my contemporaries that I came up with, and I see what they're doing. Not general or not anything more than just generally. I see what they're doing, and I feel like some of them have fallen on the sword just to be able to peddle their shit and to extend their legacy beyond a generation that found them. And I think it's to me, if somebody was like, hey man, we got these guys who are writing a song for you in the studio and you just have to put your little spit on it and polish, and there you go. You are now a band that went from writing everything within to now farming your shit out and just to sell it to a reduced version of what of your musicality. That sounds like fucking the end of art to me. Like that is the death of the purity. And so, you know, Nick and I in the Rejects.
Nick Wheeler.
Yeah. We've, yes, full names. He has grown. He and I started this. I was 17 when I got signed and put out Swing Swing, and they were playing that shit on the radio. So I'm 39 now, and to say that we can just walk back in to the same room and experience that the Rejects not only started with, but you know, stopped doing after the fourth record when I was 28, is like bullshit. Right? Like, I mean, I don't know. It's bullshit to think, oh, you're just going to sit down and do it like you used to. Now, you can say, we're having fun doing this. Cool. I don't do this for fun. I know it might sound like, oh, but you just have, you know, historically written, you know, simple pop rock songs. It's like, yeah, man, but that was over, you know, a decade of, you know, of growing up in front of a record button.
Right.
You know, I've had 10 plus years now to find myself a little bit more. And I've collaborated with other people. I'm starting a new projects that define me now. So to go back into that room of the All American Rejects and to say it's just like we did it, and to approach it just like we did it, would be opportunistic. Would be like, oh, let's go fuck this thing back to life. instead of being like, okay, cool. I don't know why I got into necrophilia with that analogy.
That's all right. No, that's all right.
That seems
but
really weird.
It
I don't
doesn't.
want to. I have no.
Can I push back on
I have
one
no
thing?
desire to fuck dead things.
I know. To life.
Especially back to life. Even though, what a superpower.
That was in the 80s sitcom. There was a great third episode. It was awesome.
What is happening?
Tyson,
Yeah.
is there not a way to be forward moving while being nostalgic at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, well,
But everything you said makes sense to me, and I hear you, and I agree with you. But I'm just playing
devil's advocate.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I don't dismiss when people say, "Oh, I want another Rejects record." That would be cool. It would be cool if, if there was a perfect storm to make it happen. I can't pretend that I'm not different than I was then.
Sure.
Nick can't pretend he's different from what he was then. So in order to approach that experience again, in order to reprint the concert T-shirt from the 1980s and not feel like a fucking dickhead for wearing it, there has to be some sort of evolution. There has to be, it has to move forward. And it doesn't involve putting, a feature list together on your fucking record and really selling the shit up the river. Remember when that was cool like 3 years ago? It was like every track of a band was just features because it was just like this. I don't know. I have opinions on it, obviously strong ones. I just think in order to do it again, it would literally have to sound like a different band. Not purposefully, but because that's where we are now.
Your taste in who you guys are. You just said it, but I want to reiterate. I look back at my stuff I did 10 years ago, and some of it I'm like, I'm pretty proud. And then I cringe. I'm like, oh, my God.
Some of it was beautiful, and some of it you're like, oh, man, I just want to shake the shit out of my younger self.
Yes, yeah. 1,000%. I want to give a shout out, and I don't know if you've been following Billy Corgan at all or care about the guy. He just put out a 33-song rock opera concept album. He didn't just put out one song and then wait 12 months. It's put out 11, then a little bit of time, 11 more, then a little bit of time, 11 more. Full concept album. He's like, I hope people take the time to listen to these songs and get into it. And I really appreciate that.
No, that's awesome. I don't see, to me, that's a really specific scenario, right? Billy Corgan is the Smashing Pumpkins. Now, the sound, yes, you got Eha and Darcy's not with them anymore.
No.
Chamberlain.
Yeah.
But that's the way bands worked. Even the Beatles, when they started even getting fringy, they would still all bring what they brought to the group, right? They're like, yo, I got this song, let's work it up. There was always a starting point. And I love that. I think Billy Corgan is like the genuine article. I mean,
yes.
he is the real deal. So the fact that he's still doing it, dude, he has no reason to do it. Like, except for because he wants to, because he loves what he does. Like, I'm sure that guy doesn't expect to, put expectations on his music. Whereas I feel like, and also you notice, Billy Corgan's not doing a fucking Sprite commercial right now for his new record.
No,
he's not whoring himself out just to push a new narrative of an old or beloved, which things can be both. Band. So I respect that. The things I don't respect are, when people are like, when I see artists out there that are either, I don't respect artists really. I don't want to sound so heavy-handed. That feel like bullshit. And that take that for whatever it is. Like, oh, this feels like a bullshit thing. Why are you playing this thing? And why the fuck does it feel like, your production is totally like pandering to some sort of current thing. You're like, please believe that I'm now and today. It's like, I don't give a shit. Next. Like, right. And I'm sure people, it's funny. I don't do this for relevance anymore. And I think at the moment, I don't think Billy Corgan does it for relevance anymore. If he did, you would see, like I said, you'd see he'd drop, you'd see him like he'd pull his face back and he'd fucking bleach his hair and he'd look like.
Hold on a minute here.
He'd look like a new era. No. Hey, I thought it was natural. You're not a natural blonde. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, remember that transformation when Jewel like tried to step away from.
Yes.
And that was cool, but it was also kind of like, what's going on here? Or Chris Gaines from your Garth Brooks. I feel like that extremity back in the day when Garth Brooks became Chris Gaines, everybody's like lost that's watching this right now.
It's all right, though.
But
Yeah.
it was like,
Google after the episode.
yeah. Everybody goes, what the fuck? And he played SNL, and it was like, what the fuck? That nowadays is just digested as, oh my God, it's like a new thing. Look, I love what they're doing. It's like, fuck, man, no, you just corrupted my fucking band, man. Don't corrupt my band. This was my band. You just turned them into a bubblegum like AI version of themselves, and I don't like that because they're willingly doing it. I feel like I've really went on a tirade about other.
No, you haven't. It's been perfect.
Yeah, sorry. But again, this is coming from a guy who hasn't put out a record with his old band
Since 2012-ish.
Since 2012-ish. So fuck
Wow.
me, right? Fuck me. I'm too afraid because I don't want to. I'd rather leave the legacy intact, be proud, and then move on, which is what I've done with Now More Than Ever.
Yes, great segue.
Yeah.
Now more than ever. Not going to pat myself on the back, but I've been attempting to lead the charge with radio spins with the great songs on here. Honestly.
No, the fact that you have like given it a day in court is like it means so much to me and to the guys. Yeah, thanks for spinning us.
When you have a chance after you listen or watch our chat, please, in this order, these are the songs I would like you to listen to. Go Tragedy, that's my favorite. Then go Heart to Heart after that. Then go Don't Rush, Don't Wait after that. Get the three, digest them, listen to them 10 times each, and then hit the rest of the songs.
Yeah.
That's my sell right there for it.
I like that sell. That's a really complimentary sell. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we understand why Now More Than Ever is happening. So who are the two gentlemen with you in the band?
This silhouette belongs to my good friend Izzy Fontaine, and this is Scott Chesick. Two people that I have encountered over the years on the road. Scott plays keys with the Rejects, and it was kind of born right before the pandemic. This idea of just wanting to write, man. The one thing that I had missed was like writing with other people. And I never had done it like this. With Nick and I would be in this part of the room, he'd be in the other part of the room, and he'd be waiting for me to like bring a start to him, bring something, a chorus and a verse, whatever. And I that's not like I always wanted to know what it would feel like to write something together with someone. And this was that experience. And it's two other people who musically come from completely different realms. Scott's like a jazz rock guy, and Izzy is this like alien, multi-talented guitarist, like the Buckethead of our generation. So to be able to sit down with them and create a band together, and to have songs that felt like really pure and fun, that's like the dream, right? To have that truthful, uninfluenced, like pure experience.
Instead of just 3 songs and calling it a day, why did you guys, or what was happening with all your brains that it went from like, you had 9 songs on this thing. This is a full-on project. This isn't a side project. This is a project.
Yeah, no, I mean, we just started collecting them. At first, we didn't know what they were going to be for. I just knew I loved being able to write songs in a guy's studio in Studio City and just exercise that feeling. You know, I've been off writing. This cycle that with the Rejects was we do 2 years on the road. Oof. We do 2 years off the road to write a record, to do 2 years on and 2 years off. And we had done that for 4 records. And at the end of it, I was like, fuck this cycle, man. I've lost the end of my youth to serving this road dogging experience, man. Like I'm the singers I think have it the worst on the road because you're doing 7 shows a week in an 8-day week. So which is hard to explain, but anyway, you're doing a lot of fucking shows, and
you're stopping at radio stations doing an interview.
Doing morning
Sometimes
shows. Those
right.
would fucking kill me, man.
Oh,
and like
God.
having to do swing, having to hit a high C at 7 a.m. and then to play a show that night and to do it again and again. I was basically on vocal rest for about a decade.
Wow.
And that changed me, man. Like I couldn't speak after shows. So everybody in my band, we basically had a lip reading. Everybody became master lip readers, and I also became really good at talking about the things that I was trying to say. It was like my own made up sign language. But my guitarist Mike, I remember just being in the hallway, being like, "What I think we should do is fucking further every night, because tonight the fucking lights were all over the fucking place." And he'd be like, but I wouldn't even be making sound. I was doing that just so you could understand me. But he was.
Because that's just as bad for your voice.
I remember him I remember him going, "I can't believe I can understand everything you're fucking saying." He was the best at it. He was like my intermediary. Like I was like, tell them what I'm saying. He'd be like, "So Tyson says," and that was like my life for 10 years. And I used to be a completely different person before that that started. As far as like it changed your personality, man. You pick and choose your moments to speak. I forget how we got down this train of thought, but yeah, my point is getting off that spinning wheel, the painted pony, and then having time to myself to go, oh wow, it's been a couple years now since I've done the Rejects thing. Do I miss writing music? And I was like, yeah, I do. It's nice to like come to that decision myself instead of having the ivory tower of Interscope Records and the people that inhabit it saying, "When are we gonna get that next record?" And all apologies to my A&R guy Jeff at Interscope. He's like my mentor since I was a kid. He wasn't like that, but I felt this presence of, "Get that kid back in here writing the hits."
Yeah.
Hot shot. Jimmy Durante.
Was that from that thing you do? It was like when they go to the record label. "Sir, I've got it."
It's funny, man. That thing you do actually was like a cartoon version of the real thing, but it is kind of like that because you are, especially when you get into it at 17 when I did, coming from a broken home, these people became my parents, man. And it was so toxic that I didn't realize it. I was like, oh shit, I want to make mom and dad proud. I want to bring the hits. Or I want to, whereas instead of I just want to create a good body of work. Not that wasn't the goal as well, but it was more just, you start chasing the dragon every record that you get into it. And luckily we had a good run with it. But yeah,
hit after hit after hit. Were you ever in a mind space of phew or no? Like, oh yeah, okay, this one's working now again.
Oh dude, I remember when we wrote Gives You Hell.
Oh, I love that song.
Cheers. I remember. Hang on, it's
okay,
calling
good.
me.
Paul, I'm gonna have a sip too.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on.
Have a sip. Have a
I
sip.
need to focus
Sip
for
break,
5
sip break.
seconds. Sip break. As I get older, I make more noises after I finish the liquid. By the way.
Oh yeah, no,
like,
no.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah, I get that. The full Pepsi experience. You look marvelous.
It really crystallines. Here we go.
Yeah, see, I remember that from my VHS in between commercial movies. Okay. So when we wrote Gives You Hell, what was I saying? We were talking
feeling
about
like phew.
Oh yeah, so I remember when we wrote Gives You Hell, I remember immediately being afraid. Like, oh shit. This is bad. This is bad. Isn't that funny? Because I was like, but I also was like, I'm afraid of this. Why am I afraid of this? It was a really weird experience. Whereas I feel like I kind of got that feeling when we wrote Dirty Little Secret, but for the Move Along record. But
yeah.
Here we are a record later, and I remember being up, at night going, fuck, I can't stop singing this in my head, which was usually like a good sign, or again, don't know. So it was that unknown, and then we played it for an A&R guy, and he was like, he got all kind of, hot and bothered about it.
Okay.
And I was like, weird that I've never had that experience with someone. Double down my fear. And then we put it out, and I remember Jimmy Iovine was like, this is a hit. My kids love it. That's a bad impersonation. Yeah, my kids love it. That's a little better. And so coming out of the gate, having that, I remember feeling like, we have this record. When the World Comes Down, Gives You Hell's on it. Mom and Dad like it, so we're gonna get a push this time. We did not die with the Move Along record,
right?
And that's the unfortunate result of like the major label system is, even if there's not someone over there standing going, make the music, kid. There's still a voice in your head saying like, asking you, is this good enough? And not necessarily, is this good enough for you? Is this good enough for them? Which is, I think after 4 records, it was nice to walk away from that. And I don't know what's to come, but I know that as long as that voice isn't in my head, then, I can sleep better at
Have you
night.
gone to a lot of therapy? I see therapists all the time, by the way.
No, it's funny.
You really got
No. I have a lot of
self-awareness
friends
going
that
on.
go to therapy. I probably should.
It seems like you have such great self-awareness of where you were and where you are now and where you want to be.
Yeah, honestly, I think fatherhood has really helped me understand my priorities in life. And honestly, I think that existential crisis that happens after the crux of 30 really, like, I don't know. It's so funny. When I was piss and vinegar when I was a kid, all I cared about was the present moment, but I didn't even have to consider whether or not I was present. Right. But then after like 30 or 31, there's this weird voice that pops up that says, what is this? What is this for? What am I doing? Who am I? It's a weird thing. And some people obviously get that voice earlier. People in their 20s can ask themselves and consider themselves.
Maybe even a little later, though.
Maybe even later.
As long as you find it, I think, at some point, then you're growing.
Yeah,
if you don't find it, you're a screwball, and you really need some help.
Yeah, or you're like this pure being that that people sort of go, oh, that's the fun uncle.
Yeah.
But that voice came on for me when I was in my 30s, and I was like, oh, wait, like, this is my art, for better or for worse, for whatever it is, whatever I'm offering. This is what I'm good at. I need to really protect it. And I think that has been my driving force. So with my son coming into the picture and my awesome wife, who is so supportive and incredible, I feel like I have a phalanx around me, and I'm secure in the fact that what I'm going to be doing with my music and with whatever art I care, whether it's painting, whether it's being an actor, that it's something that I want to do. And it's not something that I feel like I have to do for fucking mom and dad.
For validation.
Yeah, for the big brother outside of me that's like that voice that was plaguing my 20s sometimes going, is it good enough? Is it good enough? When it was always good enough.
It was. Yeah. But when you were 18, 19, 20 years old, and there's not a lot of validation at home and the people in your school, like, I don't care that you're playing in front of college kids. Is that one of the driving forces that got you the hell out to, like, look, I'm good, we're good, we can write songs, we can do this thing?
For me, the driving force to get me out of my place in Oklahoma when I was a kid was, I don't want to end up like my folks. I don't want to end up stuck in Oklahoma. I don't want to end up like a lot of my other classmen in the graduating class. We would go on tour, we would come back, and the same party from high school was still going.
Yeah.
And I remember every time I return home, it was like that detachment would be wider, and I was like, oh, it feels good to feel removed from this, like I made it out. And the last thing, I think the death sentence to me when I was a kid was, if you go home, you're going to become another brick, and the last thing I wanted was to disappear. When I, saw New York for the first time and recorded that first record, I was like, this is where I belong, man. Like my grandmother always said, baby, you were meant for the world. Like a movie, and she didn't do it in a cheesy way. She did it in this knowing way, and I believed her. And I'm so grateful for that belief that she instilled in me and myself, because I don't know if I would have believed in myself otherwise.
I'm very happy for you, man.
Cheers.
What a great career you built. Quick question, and we're coming up on 15 minutes, so just a few more things.
It goes quick, man.
It does go quick. What happened musically in Stillwater that got anybody's attention out there in the universe that led you to putting out the record, the first one, which was like 2 different labels or something like that, back-to-back years or something?
Yeah. So something To Write Home About by the Get Up Kids was a record that was put out on Doghouse Records.
Doghouse, yes.
And Nick was listening to them, and I fell in love with that record. And we basically just recorded this EP and started flipping over records we liked. Not big ones, not, we weren't sending unsolicited music out to Capitol Records even though I think we licked a couple of those stamps, but we literally basically put together a bunch of manila envelopes with a burned CD in it.
Okay.
And we sent them out. Just like you hear people doing, I can't believe that's how we did it. Because that seems like such a bizarrely impossible story.
Now it does, especially.
Yeah. And even then it was like, we did it because we heard, I think the Beatles did it, some shit. Like basically an old band did it. And we were like, I guess that's what we're supposed to do. Internet doesn't exist yet. Sort of. It did. Sort of. It was basically just sex chat rooms, which are still around, right?
Yeah.
No, but we did that, and Doghouse Records pulled our record out of the garbage can because an intern there was Dirk who owned Doghouse, Dirk and Emily, their niece, and she pulled us out of the garbage can because she liked the record cover and listened to it the weekend with her girlfriends, brought it back on Monday and said, you got to listen to this to them. And they listened to it, flew down and saw us in Tulsa at a place called Curly's, and it was me, Nick, no drummer, Casio keyboard playing drums, like on an automated disc. And I'll never forget, I'm 17, and they pull us down after the show, and I was like, oh my God, it was fucking awful.
Oh.
Because we're like, we don't have a real band. We're just two guys and a keyboard.
Are there people there watching you?
Yeah, 15.
15, okay.
Maybe. And the show felt really okay. And they were like, we got to talk shop. And I never heard that turn of phrase before, Let's go outside. We got to talk shop. And I was like, ooh.
You're 17.
That sounds like somebody bouncing a cigar on the end of their hand would say. Yeah. And we went outside, and they were like, we're giving you a record deal. And I remember it was the summer just finished my junior year, and I came back to school with a record deal with Doghouse Records, and I had to graduate early because I was going to New York City to record with Tim O'Hare.
God dang.
Who did, Who Sucked Out the Feeling? And I was like, I forget what that band was. Damn it, Super Drag? Wasn't it Super Drag?
I'm not sure offhand.
You remember that song, though? Look around, could it bring somebody down if I never wrote a song?
You're a great singer, and I can't figure it out on the spot right now.
Yeah. Anyway, so this song was like, like a 90s jam. And forgive me, I'm like digressing, but I got a record deal. I'm going to record a record in December. I'm walking into my senior year with a Doghouse Records t-shirt on. And I remember just going... Like the veil had lifted, and all of a sudden the school felt smaller, and maybe that's because my head was another quarter size bigger. But that was like the beginning of like this liberation of my youth of going, I'm not going to be stuck in an Oklahoma fairy tale that has a horribly mediocre ending. And that was like the coolest start to our band's, Genesis.
Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers.
Again.
It was fun.
When you made the next record, Howard Benson produced.
Yeah, Howie.
And that guy, look at his track record. You could go like TSOL and POD, Kelly Clarkson. Do you guys have a say in who you work with?
That record.
And by the way, I'm giving nothing but props. It's such a...
No. He did. I remember he just did my Kim's record.
Yeah.
And I loved the way that record sounded. I was such a singles kid. I remember I heard Helena on, I saw the video on MTV, and I was like, oh, that's sick. That was about as much as I absorbed that record, but I knew I liked the way it came out. And Jeff Sosno, our A&R guy, was like, you're going to record this record with Howard Benson. That was kind of how it was. And I was like, such a stoner that was writing. I remember the last three. We didn't think we were ever going to get out of writing hell. We were in Atlanta at the time. The last three songs I wrote with Nick were Dirty Little Secret, It Ends Tonight, and Move Along. And at that point, we were 8 weeks into this pre-production, not knowing if we'd ever get to cut a record. And Howard Benson flew down, heard us play these songs in the studio. He was very, like, sweatpants, kind of just listening. Left. I was like, well, that fucking guy seems miserable. And he, Jeff was like, you're gonna do your record with this guy. I was like, oh fucking K. Let's go. And then we flew out to LA, cut Move Along. But yeah, Howard Benson was like the most, I remember he was like struggling with like, he had addiction issues at the time. And so we're like cutting a record with a guy who was ultimately only there to do vocals. And so I remember we're like kids doing our first record in LA and working with his engineers, and just sort of like we kind of had the whole house to ourselves, you know. And then Dad would come home, and I'd go sing upstairs with him, and and I'd get my demerits, and he'd get me to scream till I was spitting blood, and
oh my God.
And then at the end of it, you know, Dirty Little Secret started getting played, and that was the Howard Benson experience in a nutshell, a very, very, very glossy nutshell.
Gonna get you out of here on this.
Yeah, get me out on it.
Have you had big time auditions that you didn't get for acting?
Big time auditions.
Because you said something a second ago, and it made me think you would have been perfect for this role as an actor. And I'm not saying you would have been good as Vincent Chase in Entourage.
Oh, Vinny Chase. No, it's funny. I think that was before I was really serious about it. Like, I think I did House Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
Around
it's a great movie,
time.
by the way.
It's really cute.
Yeah.
Loved it. Great experience. I did that, and my manager was so dinosaur at the time that it was like, all right, now get your ass back out on the road. And I had to go. I had to go work for two years on the road. Whereas looking back, yeah, it would have been fun to sort of see what I would have auditioned for when I was, 23.
Right.
But honestly, I think I would have. I always told myself if I moved to LA before I was 30, I was gonna fuck myself up somehow.
You would have gone off the deep end a little?
I don't know. I could have. I had no self-control, and luckily I had people in my life that were like, just don't come here. You're not ready for this, young Peter Pan.
Right.
Go fly over there in Never Land. It's safe. Find yourself a windy lady and just play around, but don't get yourself killed. And it was good. It was the best thing I ever did was wait to start my career as an actor until I was like responsible enough to handle Los Angeles.
I don't even think I let you answer the question. Was there a role you went in for and you didn't get, and then you saw it in a movie or on TV and it's a pretty good size, and you're like, shit, I can't believe, look at this.
Oh man, I guess what's one that got away that I felt like I really deserved? It's hard to really pin one down.
Okay, you can pass.
Yeah,
on.
no,
Okay,
no. I mean,
right.
there's nothing. There's truly nothing that I've gone out for that I was like, I was perfect for it. I did a couple. Everything I've been a part of, I've really felt right to be a part of.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap it right there. I feel good about everything. How do you feel? We're like an hour in. I know you have a ride coming to get you pretty soon.
I'm so fucking long-winded.
No,
man.
you're not.
I feel
it's a
like
podcast.
Yeah, I just feel like my wife always is like, you talk so fucking much, Ty.
Uh-oh.
And no, when I do interviews and stuff, she's like, just yes or no on some of these.
No.
I should have been like,
no. Sean,
I
were
should
these good answers?
Oh, whatever. Everybody should look at Sean right now. You can't, because there's nobody there.
He's got a taxi driver shirt on.
No, he doesn't, Stryker. There's nobody there, man. You keep calling out to this ghost, Sean. He doesn't exist.
All right, so this is the plan for you. Prisoner's Daughter in theaters, June 30th. Also,
June 30th,
the super wet, goddamn hot All-American Reject Summer Tour, right?
Yes, super.
Wait, what did I say?
The wet, hot All-American Summer Tour.
So there it is.
Yeah,
okay, I think I threw
with
a few
Newfound
words.
Glory, Get Up Kids, Motion City soundtrack, starting line. It's going to be like going back into a time machine and, sitting on the John and having a good time.
And now more than ever.
A smooth bounce move. Yes.
This is the album. Find the songs that I told you to listen to first. What a great artist and what a great guy.
Cheers. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you, man.
God, appreciate you. That's been another episode of Tuna on Toast for Tyson Ritter. I am Ted Stryker. Happy snuggles. Bye-bye.
Drink your water.
Hope you enjoyed. Now hit that subscribe button. And for more Tuna on Toast, listen wherever you get your podcasts.